Modern progressive historians have attempted to conflate the Dark Ages with the Renaissance. They would like all of their students to believe it was just one time period. Well, current events have proven, beyond the shadow of a doubt, that there is a return to the Dark Ages happening that has nothing to do with what occurred during the Renaissance. The people of the Renaissance had something that those of the Dark Ages had lost, and it is more valuable than gold. In today's video, we're going to cover this. In fact, we did a deep dive into this earlier today over at the Florida Maquis Patreon channel, where we teach psychological operations. There is one thing that you must have, and if you don't have it, you will never survive. It has nothing to do with anything you can buy at the store or put in a safe or any type of currency. It is a currency of types, but not one that you could hold in your hand, nor one that you could trade online. If you'd like to join us over there, $1 US per month. Not per video, not per week, per month. Even less if you sign up for an entire year, fully refundable in the first 90 days. Many people will be down in the comments section giving testimony, especially after today's video, that what the people of the Dark Ages lost was critical. And that's why there was nothing but hopelessness and despair. Now, I'd like in this video to start off by sharing a picture and ask my audience, what's the first word that comes to your mind when you see this picture? Is it contentment? Safety? Some might say love. Some might see a little concern on the face of one. Contentment was the word that came to my mind the first time that I saw this picture. And it's from a series, Colony, that we talked about, and I had forgotten about this one particular scene. And it reminded me of a saying from Voltaire that's being paraphrased here by Gretchen Rubin. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Lower the bar. Actually, spending 10 minutes clearing off one shelf is better than fantasizing about spending a weekend cleaning out the basement. With everyone so concerned about what may or may not be coming in the next year or two with food shortages or fuel prices, a lot of folks are trying to do it all and get it all done at once and make sure it's all perfect. It's never going to be perfect because there's always this VUCA, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity. You can never be totally prepared for anything or for everything. There will always be things that crop up, things that happen that you can't plan for, and it will throw a monkey wrench into the works. You see, it's kind of funny, it's counterintuitive, but with Biden coming out and stating food shortages are going to be real for a fact, well, to some people, that actually gives them a little bit of solace. Some people are like, well, am I wasting my money? Is this all just a big fake thing? Is there not going to be? Well, when the President of the United States comes out and says stuff like this, if it were to never happen, they could point back and say, well, look, the President warned of it. But what if you did something? What if you decided, you know what, I'm going to warn against this. I'm going to tell the family, I'm going to go kick off all the breakers, and we're going to see what we would do. Maybe you check your supplies and, oh, look, we'd had these batteries, but look, these are bad. We were going to get the flashlights all set up, but I'm glad we sure checked on this. But what happens when the flashlights start to go dim after a week or 2 weeks or a month? What happens then? How long are you going to go through the act before your family says enough's enough? Can we just get back to normal? You see, you can have light. In fact, most of the day you have light. It's only at night you need flashlights and candles, right? And when it's temperate, summertime in North America, you can always set up something like this in the back, shower outside. How long is that going to last? See, when the real shortages hit and you got that last cart of groceries, then what? You see, this is the kind of thing that we used to do in the military to break people down. We would reduce them to just food, water, breathing, the very basics, the fundamentals. And then we'd give them a little hope, and then we'd take it away. And then we'd give them a little more hope, and then we'd take it away. And then finally, after a while, they didn't even want the hope because it was too hard going back and forth. They wanted normal. And even if normal meant never going back to the old way of doing things, that's what they wanted. This is the hard kind of break-in period for a lot of guys who've been sentenced to long-term in prison. They have to lose the hope of the outside to be able to survive on the inside. And just like what happened with a lot of people, they had to lose the hope of there ever being a normal life again to deal with the mandates put in place by DC. That's why, being so blessed to live in Florida, we never had to deal with that. But what if it's 6 months down the road and you see there's this house in your neighborhood, still got lights, enough energy to even have lights on at night, and you or loved ones around you haven't had a hot shower in 6 months? Would you be the type to swallow enough pride to go maybe knock on the door and say, I noticed you have this power, and I don't want to know where you're getting it. I just, my wife, my daughters, my loved ones, they haven't had a normal shower in 6 months. Is there anything I could do to, in trade somehow, just to give them one night of normal? One night of a bath or a hot meal that wasn't reconstituted? You see, this is the new current. This will be the new currency. Normal. The old normal will be that currency. That if it can be provided in any way, shape, or form, it will be worth more than anything. Any amount of reconstituted beans, any amount of stockpiled whatever you have, canned this, that, or the other, just to have a night where things are like they used to be. You see, it's the opposite side of the normalcy bias, where people think things are going to be normal all the way up into the point where they aren't. What they'll do to get back to it will change their psychology. This is a scene from The Walking Dead. For the first few seasons, The Walking Dead did some things that were really very accurate, but then they went off the rails. This is a character, the Andrea character. She had just lost her sister. They had come to Atlanta, and after years of being on foot, being dirty, being afraid, being hungry, and thirsty all the time, they found the CDC in Atlanta, and they had hot showers. And it was an amazing series of scenes because it showed what each person did when they had their moment with, to have a hot shower. And all she did is probably what a lot of people would do after that long of a time without normal. She just sat there and sobbed. Now, it wasn't very much later on that they ran into this little town called Woodbury. And there was this guy called the governor. And he had created a little bit of normal. Yeah, there were walls and there were guys and guards and all this, and they had some rules, but generally speaking, people bathed. People got up and brushed their teeth, and they drank glasses of things that had ice cubes in them, and they talked about their day, and looks like they got some hair. This was the idea. It wasn't perfect, but it was really, really close to normal. Now, after a long stretch of abnormal, this type of thing will be gravitated to at any cost. And I think a lot of people misunderstand how desirable this will be for a lot of folks and what they'll be willing to do to get it or get back to it. See, she finds the guy that's responsible, says thank you and gets to know the guy and does what any two normal people would do in the situation. Any two normal individuals would do. Take the good over the perfect. Choosing the good over the perfect. A lot of people think that when everything falls apart and the government collapses, that we're going to become these wonderful Christian little medieval villages again, where people just grow their crops and live their simple lives. No. Absolutely not. You see, there was a reason back then that they had to create castles with walls, because it's a lot more like pirates, brigands, highwaymen. It won't be so nice, and places like Woodbury are going to be gold. They're going to be worth more than anything. And this is the currency that will be moved in. People will want a return. After all the stockpiling of the batteries, after all the stockpiled food runs out, and you can flip the breakers back and forth and nothing happens, and you wish, man, just for one more day of normal, just to have a shower inside without bugs, just to go to the grocery store, that one house with the lights on 6 months later, that's going to be the difference. That's going to be the key. And prepping doesn't get you this. You see, because it's not going to be equal everywhere. There are going to be areas that have more normal than others. And that's what's going to reshuffle the globe, so to speak. So I guess going back to this, don't trade the good, the contentment, the imperfect for the hope, probably false, of something perfect. I'll leave it there. God bless. Like, share, subscribe. Would love to have you join us over at Patreon. We go a lot farther and deeper into this and what the real story is going to be. $1 US per month. God bless. Look forward to seeing you there. Have a great weekend.